Hey guys, today I want to show you my new favorite plugin that's being used in all my mixes and all my masters. It's called ReLife by Obsession. Okay, so let's first just play an example. I've got a mix here that I'm working on, and it sounds like this without any of the ReLife plugin on it. And what I don't like about the mix is that it's got this kind of like boxy mid-range, especially in the synths around here. If I just exaggerate it, you'll hear the exact character that I'm hearing. So I want to reduce that, and I also want to get some nice crispy highs in and maybe boost the sub a bit. And this plugin is perfect for that. So we've got this one knob over here that's called shape, and I'm just going to increase that and then just listen to what happens to the mix as I increase that. Now let's turn it off and A/B with it. So now I've gotten rid of that like boxy character, and it's also, the mix just feels a lot more focused, the high end's a bit crispier, and it just sounds so much better to me. And then it's also got this other knob here that's called Life. So you'll notice you don't really hear anything with this Life knob until you start to increase the input. So if we just turn this input up a bit. Then you'll start getting all that saturation. Okay, so this is just in the case of using it on your master. I wouldn't recommend doing such extreme settings on your master. In this case, I think the main problem was with all these mid-range instruments and not so much the drum bus. So what I might opt to do instead of using it on my master in this case would be to take it out of here and just throw it onto my instrument bus or onto just each synth and just dial it in that way. So in this case, like the pad, it's got some of that quality that I don't like, this piano. And then this melody. So we could put all of these into a bus, maybe just group them all together like this. Yeah, now we've got this bus and we can just throw ReLife onto the bus. And now we can just dial in the shape through here. Sounds so much better, and let's hear it in the mix now. Okay, so you can see why I love it so much. It just does the job so well, and it's just so quick. Just got that one knob just to do it all. But what is the plugin actually doing? So let's just go to Analog Obsession's website. So here you'll actually see that the plugin is free. I just want to mention that first of all. It's free to download, but I think it's more considered donationware. They're kind of expecting you to subscribe to their Patreon just to kind of say thank you for making such awesome plugins. And I really think you should if you use it. I subscribe to it myself. And if you can't afford it to pay for it every month, maybe just subscribe for 1 or 2 months. It's only fair if you're using these plugins to support the developers. Okay, so here in the description, this shape feature here, it says it's predefined EQ will shape your sound with carefully selected dynamic bands. Okay, so I've just got an operator over here that's just generating some white noise. And we're going to use white noise because it's pretty flat, as you can see, across the whole spectrum. And I want to basically see what sort of EQ curve the shape is applying to the sound, and I guess this is probably the easiest way to visualize that. So I'm just going to start turning up the shape while I'm playing the white noise, and you can watch what happens. Okay, so we can see it's kind of lifted the highs, it's scooping the mids and boosting the bass a bit. So it's doing what pretty much most mastering engineers would do when you send them the track. Almost all my mixes that I've had mastered professionally always come back and they've scooped the mids, they've boosted the highs, and they've boosted the sub. And what that does is it feels like it almost like focuses the mix more. Because that mid-range gets cleaned up, it feels less cluttered, and then the high end just feels a bit brighter and crisper and more controlled. When it comes to this life knob, it's a little less obvious to me what exactly it's doing. It sounds to me like it just distorts the sound, like maybe just some saturation. Here it says it will let you give life to your tracks. Even higher settings won't destroy material until you combine it with the input knob. So it's not super descriptive, but I think the best way to see this would be to just change this to a sine wave. We can turn this up, and you can see it's basically doing nothing until we start to increase this input knob. And then you can see the harmonics come up, and we're basically just distorting the sound wave. And if we compare it to something like Ableton Saturator, maybe just drive it quite high and just reduce the output here. And then we toggle between these two. Yeah, basically just saturating it. It sounds a bit different. I'm not sure exactly the circuitry that he's using, but I guess this is based off some sort of analog circuitry, so it's going to sound different to just these normal saturators that we have here. Okay, so another thing I really like about this plugin is you can see he added an update here with added gain compensation for each stage. So what I really like about it is you're not just hearing an increase in loudness and being tricked into thinking it sounds better because it's louder. Everything that you do is being gain compensated, and that means that as you increase, say, this life or the input parameter, the overall volume isn't increasing. You can hear it doesn't get any louder, this sine wave. As I increase the input, it's actually reducing the fundamental because those added harmonics give the perception that the sound is louder, even if it isn't necessarily getting louder. So that kind of compensates for that, which I really like, so you immediately just know whether it's improving the mix or not. If we compare that to something like a saturator, as I increase the drive here, you can see it just gets louder and louder, and often people get tricked that way into thinking that it's improved the mix when all it's done is made it louder. And then just some other features it has this mix knob, which is pretty self-explanatory. You can mix the dry and the wet signal together. You can control the output if you want it to be louder. And then it's got this analog obsession badge over here. If you click on that, that just turns on oversampling, and all of his plugins have this feature. Okay, so yeah, that's it for ReLife. Again, one of my favorite plugins. I've been using it so much lately. I think it really is just a nice, quick way to fix these boxy kind of sounds in your mix, or just to kind of spice up your master a bit. And remember, if you do download it, please support the developer by subscribing to his Patreon, at least for a few months. Okay, so let me know in the comments if there's any other plugins you'd like me to review, or if you'd like to see more plugin reviews in the future. I'm thinking of doing maybe one a week or one a month or something. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.